Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Mid Atlantic Championship Wrestling Review Series for the sixth of um, February, 1982. Sorry, my microphone fell over there. So, anyway, we continue our foray into Mid Atlantic, and I am enjoying it greatly because I haven't been here before. Again, more hype for the Tag Team Championship Tournament. That seems to be where they're going with the majority of things. Although, new talent coming through here for a little bit here. Koloff and Idol versus Vinny Valentino and Don Gilbert after Jimmy Valiant promo where he promises he wants to be on top of the world, as it were. And the Tag Team Championship Tournament continues to take shape here. But Valentino and friends against Idol and Koloff. Idol and Koloff still, I think, the weirdest team I've seen out of this whole concept. But anyway, certainly an interesting run, as it were. And you do what you do where you can while you can, and hopefully make something good come out of whatever it is that you're doing. In any event, it is what it is, and you go where you go. Needless to say, there's some challenges here, and you do what you can where you can, and you punch kick basic stuff. Idol and Koloff are a unique team for a number of reasons. Obviously, Idol having more of the flash, and Koloff having more of the, I don't know that substance is the right word, but he's definitely a guy who you have more in common with from that perspective, in terms of a deeper run. Anyway, so as we begin to run through the process, match is pretty basic, doesn't need to be anything but, actually. Wish actually more matches were like this. Idol takes a good bit of punishment, working his arms worked over for a little while, and Koloff comes in, grabs the arm of one of his adversaries, and goes to work on it as well. Koloff, of course, former WWF champion, and doesn't waste a whole bunch of motion unless he absolutely has to. Koloff, with some, hits a hot shot across the top rope, getting the momentary victory, as it were. And again, we do see Idol and Koloff victorious. We then see Ricky Steamboat out plugging the Ric Flair and Jay Youngblood match, which we're then shown highlights of. Flair capable of bringing good out of anybody, I swear, as Youngblood really steps up his game in this exhibition-style match that we see over the next little while. Youngblood comes in, holding on to the arm, basic stuff. Flair bumping around for Youngblood like Youngblood's the next biggest thing since sliced bread. Also talk of Flair and Steamboat renewing their rivalry. Flair gets on to the knee and ankle of Youngblood, actually drags him across the ring while having him in the figure four. Flair trying to get back to a vertical base, doesn't get everything he wants on that. But drop kicks and other bump arounds, including chops, from Youngblood gives him an advantage over Flair. Pretty basic there. Not anything that you got to write home about. Flair leans his man back over the ropes on the outside to the inside. Flair also trying to get a hanging suplex. Gets the suplex from the outside to the inside. Flair then takes over on Youngblood for a little bit there. Youngblood comes back with a roll-up and manages to get a 2 count out of that. Worth going out of your way to see this. Steamboat talks about wanting to challenge Flair himself, wanting to challenge for the championship. Flair cuts an amazing promo for the time about all the people that have been after him, talking about Steamboat, talking about Tommy Rich challenging, or Rich is a former champion. They do have Flair doing some voiceovers with Tommy Rich and plugging upcoming matches around different territories for Rich and Flair as a NWA program, even though Tommy Rich has or had held the NWA Championship, defeating Harley Race for 4 days in 1981. The squash match, or modified squash, held by Tommy Rich, gives him an advantage for a little while, not terribly long. Holds on, and the enhancement talent takes advantage for a little bit. Flair cuts back off and basically says he's ready to fight anyone, anywhere. Doesn't matter if it's Piper, doesn't matter if it's Steamboat, doesn't matter if it's Youngblood again or whomever else. Then we go to the next in the series of matches, which happens to be Nelson versus Blackjack Mulligan Jr., aka Barry Windham. Roll throughs their basic maneuvers. Interesting to see this particular run. I assume it means they're getting Mulligan, aka Windham, ready for more challenges from Sergeant Slaughter. Slaughter is at ringside with his protege, but doesn't exactly stay there very long, and it's not, a major thing. Anyway, Slaughter manages to stay in top wrist lock form and basic maneuvers along the way. Slaughter also manages to watch on as his man Nelson takes a good bit of punishment to Blackjack Mulligan Jr., although I would say Mulligan Jr. obviously has the crowd behind him. Clothesline to the outside, really basic maneuvers, and simple stuff. Piper basically says he'll tell people who his partner is when he's ready. Slaughter says he's the U.S. champion, not being respected. More promos from the team of Idol and Koloff, and they say they're ready for the future of things. Then we go to a Jake Roberts enhancement match. Buck Brannigan and Jake Roberts is here. Roberts back with another singles match that really doesn't have any long-term value. Roberts cranks up on the arm and wrist lock basic maneuvers. Roberts really hasn't, again, found his point here in Mid-Atlantic. Seems to do better in Mid-South as far as stories, world-class as far as stories. Jake Roberts in Mid-Atlantic doesn't really seem to be a great run. I've never seen his Georgia run, actually. May seek that out if it exists anywhere. Lots of Georgia is not available. And there is a difference between Georgia and the Carolinas. People have schooled me on that. So keep in mind, I didn't come into wrestling until 1989 as a fan, so my geographic territory knowledge isn't always what it needs to be. Roberts eventually does get the knee lift and gets the victory there. Piper takes a no-name partner and manages to take on his adversaries in this tag team match that he has signed up for by himself. That happens to be Larson and Anthony, and Piper brawls his way through both guys, trying to embarrass them as best he can. As a former Mid-Atlantic heavyweight champion, certainly having the ability to do that isn't a terrible surprise. Piper says that he can beat anybody and wants to be the guy for the most influential guy in Mid-Atlantic for the year of 1981, and he's insulted the guys like Steamboat and others are in the running for that when he should already be the automatic winner. We will close there. We'll be back with more right after this.